Hello, everyone, and welcome to Co-Creation Station, the podcast where we talk about the law of attraction, the art of allowing, spiritual magic, the mind-body-spirit connection, and how to best enjoy this mystical, miraculous, mysterious, crazy, sometimes confounding, but always incredible journey we call life. My name is Collin. I'm located in beautiful, sunny North Hollywood, California.
My name is Stephanie Orlina. I am a transformational life coach, and I am in San Diego, California.
We want to thank you so much for listening or watching or both. We want to let you know at the top of the episode here that we often mention the names Abraham Hicks, and Esther Hicks. If you're not familiar with those names, Esther Hicks is a speaker and author who channels Abraham. Abraham is described as a group of entities from beyond our physical world who share their wisdom by speaking through Esther at workshops and speaking opportunities around the world. Might sound a little weird, but it's actually really cool. You can find out about them by searching Abraham Hicks on your web browser or on YouTube. You can also go to their website, abraham-hicks.com. Each week we start our discussion from a different jumping off point, and this week I had a question from, I think it was the last episode we did. We talked about how when we want something, whether it's a new thing, like a new car or whatever, or a new home or a new relationship or something like that, that what we're really after is the feeling we believe we will experience when we get that thing. Like we will experience joy and or love and or happiness and or fun. But so the question occurred to me, and I didn't get the chance to ask it on the last episode, is doesn't that mean that we don't need the things? Like if I want a new car, and what I really want is the feeling I believe that I will get in my mind and body when I have the car, and I have the capacity to make myself feel that way without the car, why do I need the car?
Well, it was okay. So then specifically the car, like for me, I think because there's so many experiences with the car, like just sitting in it, the comfort of it. Like I'm thinking of the car in my vision car, and driving it around town. So there's so many moments and experiences that will live on and on and on. Like my present car, I've had a very long time. And she's amazing. I take really good care of her. And yes, I talked into the female form of her. But yeah, I remember when I wanted that car specifically and didn't think I would get it. And then I bought it. I found it and bought it from a very nice man. But the same thing, I think because there's even in the relationship, right? There's many moments and there's good and not so good, in a relationship. But I think it's because it lives on. It lives on beyond. And from there, like Abraham's always talking about, then you get that and you're at a whole nother level. And from there, there's more wanting. So it's eternal.
Yeah, I mean, I think I think the reason I bring it up is just it's sort of a fascinating thing, because I think that the before I started learning about the law of attraction and the art of allowing and everything, my assumption was not that was that if by wanting the car, I really wanted the car,
Yeah.
and it was
Yeah.
the car that had the power on its own to make me feel happy or
Right.
have the fun or whatever.
Yeah.
Like I was incapable of feeling great without that car.
Without that. Yeah. Or
Yeah,
even the thought of wanting it and not having it brought
yeah,
pain. And so the only way I could get rid of the pain is by having the car, but
yeah,
that's not true.
right. And I think that's something I for some reason I think for me before I knew about the law of attraction and I my sort of anecdotal survey of at least Americans is that the toughest one for that is money in general. Is I feel
Mm,
like when people don't have enough money, it's very easy to feel like the money will make you like once it we end up having it. It's logical, but it's actually backwards in terms of how the universe actually works. Because it's like
right.
when I get a lot of money, then I'll
Then
allow
I'll be
myself to
happy.
feel abundant and rich.
Yeah.
And the reality is, you have to feel abundant and rich in order to attract money.
Trapped.
Like if you're
Right.
feeling like,
Yeah.
oh my God, I'm so poor. Oh my God, I'm so
Yeah.
poor. I can't afford anything. I'll never get out from under. I need to win the lottery or
Yeah.
nothing.
Yeah.
That kind of those thoughts create a feeling of like sadness or anxiety or anger or resentment or whatever about being poor, and then that's your vibration. And so the universe, I mean, this isn't exactly how it works, but how
Right.
I
Yeah.
illustrate it is the universe
Yeah.
is responding to that vibration with law of attraction. It's like, oh, okay, you're putting out the poor vibe. Okay, we'll give you more poverty because that's the vibe you're putting out.
And it's all attraction. That's why it's called the law of attraction. It's
Yeah.
all attraction. Everything, the universe, the entire universe is attraction. I was listening to Abraham this morning when I was making breakfast, and they were talking about how, when we transition, especially if we pass when we're in a good feeling place,
Mhm.
it'll be like walking from one room into the next room. You're not even going to notice a difference. You release all resistance. But then they went on to say that, we're all here in the non-physical world, and it's same thing, law of attraction. And we can't, even though our loved ones are still there on planet Earth and vice versa, my loved ones, some of them have transitioned, are in the spiritual realm. They can't assert themselves into my experience. I have to be
Right.
open to receiving communication with them, and so it's there. And again, Abraham said it's all attraction.
Yeah.
There is no assertion, it's all attraction. And so that was really cool, because I know some people, when their family members have transitioned, they're like, I can't feel them, I can't hear them, or I don't believe in that stuff or whatever. And it's like I'm blocking it all by saying that. I remember when my biological father transitioned, um, when I heard the news, I was kind of numb. And then the next day, I was just tears pouring like all day long. I was so sad. And I remember telling my then husband, like, I can't feel him. I can't see him. I can't feel him. And I was really disappointed. And then the next day, my tears had stopped. And I remember standing in the bathroom, brushing my teeth, and I could see his face in my third eye chakra. And I was in a good mood, brushing my teeth, and he just appeared for a second, and I was like, oh, hi, there you are. And then it just went away. And because in the spiritual realm, there's such a high vibration that I was in such a lower vibration with my tears that we couldn't communicate. And then once I was feeling better, because I was wanting to communicate, he came in. So,
I feel like the author and speaker Wayne Dyer, on one of his PBS specials, I can't remember which one, but he used to say, he said in that special, like, where do all your relationships really live?
ooh,
And it's like
ooh,
they're in our minds. I mean, they're in our minds and our hearts. They don't. You do need contact with people in order to grow a relationship or form a relationship. But when you close your eyes and you think about where are my relationships, they're all right there. Like, you can visualize all the people in your life. And yeah, I
I
think
love that.
we have that sort of false idea in our culture that when somebody dies, it's like they're not, they're beyond that now, and that's not been my experience. I was To bring it back a little bit to the original
Yeah.
thing.
It went
No,
way
no,
out of, and I was
no,
like,
it's a great,
woo.
no, it's a great point. I was like, oh, are we doing medium shit? Like, oh, I didn't prep for that episode. Um, but
Yeah.
No, I was just thinking that as you were talking, I was thinking about there's this musician that I follow on Instagram, and I don't really know her. She has a ton of fans, so it's like I'm one of, like, millions, not millions, but thousands that follow her on Instagram. And she puts her music on there, but she also puts and I'll keep her identity a secret. Not that I don't know how famous she really is, but
Why would you? If she's known and she has followers, why would you? Is all of this public knowledge, or is it personal knowledge that you have of her?
no, it's public knowledge. No, she puts it out.
Oh,
I
okay.
guess my analysis is not public until now. But she's one of these people who she puts her music on there, but then she also gives you these glimpses into whatever her life is like. And she's in
Yeah.
Los Angeles,
Yeah.
and she beats this drum of, like, there are no good men in Los Angeles. She's
Oh,
looking for a
ouch.
boyfriend, and she's
Yeah.
like, there's no good, and it's like every time she posts something like that, I'm just like, that's your vibration. Is like, I'm never
Yeah.
gonna meet a good man in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
mean,
I love how you
understandably.
said it, beating the drum. That's a good analogy.
I
Yeah.
mean, I will not, and some of our listeners will know that yes, the dating environment in Los Angeles in 2023 can be challenging, regardless of whether you know about the art of allowing or not. But honestly, that even that ultimately doesn't matter.
No, it
Angelica,
doesn't.
our friend Angelica, who's a friend of the podcast and
Yeah.
a loyal listener, I mean, she lives in Los Angeles and she found the man of her dreams. And it was just like one of those things of like, if you're lined up, if your vibration is like, I'm
It
ready
so
and
is
I can
that.
allow it in, then,
I
and
know.
I feel sometimes I do feel a little bit of imposter syndrome here because it's like I am super single right now.
Super
And it's
single.
like, well, Collin,
Well,
and
it's that it's like what we were talking about in friend time. It's about
yeah,
resistance, right? It's
100%,
all
hundred
resistance.
percent, yeah,
Same for me. I'm like, here I am, 8, 9 months single, but I feel like I've been
yeah,
single longer because the separation was like 3 years and we hadn't been, you know what I mean? Whatever.
yeah,
And so I'm just
yeah.
like, um, same thing. And it's only my resistance. Period. I call it out. It is what it is. You
I
know?
used to feel. I mean, I think I told you about this, but I've had several iterations. I've lived in LA 10 years now, and I've had several iterations of being single, going on a dating app, and going on multiple dates. Until I met somebody where it stuck for a while, and it always feels to me like the person that shows up in that first date is just like a direct reflection of how much resistance or allowing I have going on. It's like if I'm on the and in fact I think I told you like one of the people that I ended up dating for quite a while, we're not together anymore obviously, but we did have a really good thing for a while. Like I was so frustrated with that particular dating app that I had deleted it, and but I had like I think three first dates lined up, and so I was like, well, I'll go on these three and then I'm done. And I was convinced that all three were just going to be terrible because I was attracting. I mean, they're perfectly fine people, but just like not a match.
Yeah, yeah.
I'd just been attracting like, nope, not a match, nope, not a match, and I was like, why am I continuing? I need to go work on my vibration. I shouldn't be
Yeah,
on the
yeah,
dating
yeah,
site
yeah,
while I'm in resistance.
yeah.
But then I went on the first two with that energy of like, and then for the third one, I was like, this is the last one. I'm getting off the
Yeah, yeah.
and that was somebody that I ended up matching with. And it's because I had
Mm.
no expectation. And as soon as we started to click, I was like, I let go of caring kind of.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
that's the
yeah.
weird thing. I mean, I feel like we talked about this in friend time also. I think it is really challenging. It's legit challenging to want something a lot and to not try to go grab it, with your resistance.
And that's where I think this is where the practice comes in,
Yeah,
when in softening the resistance when there are those, like, we'll call them big ticket items that I want, that I have, you know, that I desire and I want,
yeah,
yet I have doubt about whether it'll happen, why hasn't, all these resistant thoughts. Um and it comes back to the practice of believing it. Like there's, I read my vision most every morning of what I want in my relationship, and it feels really good to do that.
yeah,
And when I started doing that, that's when I had like one of the best lunch dates I've ever had, and then went out on this other date with someone else, and so I could see like, oh, this is softening my resistance and it's attracting more of what I want. And it didn't stick because we weren't a match.
yeah.
And so I love that Abraham says, people will come in, but then they go away because you're not a match. And
Yeah,
once we are a match, they'll stay, and vice versa. But each one gave me experiences that I did want, which is cool.
yeah. I mean, I had that experience also in those some of those iterations. I don't mean to make it sound like there was 100 of them, but there's more than one time that I've been, dating actively here in LA, and I definitely had that experience of like going out on a first date with someone and them sort of having a lot of what I was looking for, but like something I didn't want that I really wasn't focused on. Oh, well, yeah, I don't want that. and that actually did help me, I think, adjust my vibration of like that person was great. I liked, dot 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 about them.
Yeah, yep,
But I also need somebody who doesn't, blah 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 or whatever, someone who,
yeah.
doesn't have this massive incompatible thing.
And I also got to see my growth too, because there was a time in my life recently that I was intimidated by successful businessmen.
Hmm.
And one of them was he owned his own business, really grounded and down to earth. Like we
Sorry,
are
this is while you're dating or just in general?
No, this was yes, dating. Like if I saw someone who seemed like very
Yeah.
professional and you know I was like, whoa, I'm not a match, and well, and that's, I still am not attracted to that kind of stuffy, rigid kind of, analytical, but
I hate
um
those corporate climber guys.
although, there could be, it could be a jeans guy. He's wearing a suit during the day and jeans, because I'm very much a, down to earth casual kind of gal, and that's what my guy is like too. But this guy, he wore a nice shirt and some jeans and tennies, and but he was a successful businessman. And and then I was like, wanted to hear more, and how'd you get into that? And
Yeah.
so it was great. So it was a nice combination of what I like, and just to see like, oh yeah, I felt like an equal, like, and I want to learn more. So
We're
but
making this show more about your dating life with
so
every
this
episode,
is
and I couldn't be happier.
so this is what
We
I
we need
don't
a new name. We need a new logo.
so on YouTube, from the feeds that I watch, um Mind Valley comes up a lot, and a lot of times the person who is a part, I don't know, he is I think he's Indian, and I can't remember his name, but he does a lot of promos for Helen Hadsell. And she was the woman back in, I think, in the 60s, who was very famous for winning anything she won, like trips to Paris, and, but she had this belief that if she wanted it, she could have it.
Mhm.
And she was a housewife, and her husband had a good job, but there's just those little things for her kids she wanted, they didn't really have the money for. And so
Oh yeah, I feel
she's
like I remember hearing about this years ago.
yeah, so those commercials keep popping up on my feed, and I was like, I love her. I've watched her video on YouTube. She's amazing. She talks about her story. Did a deep dive into her, but I remember it was like, he talks about her like, oh my God, she's amazing. But what she had that a lot of us don't have is she believed, she expected, and she received.
Yeah.
And we've talked about this a lot in the radio, I mean, on here on the podcast, about how, like, for me, I got to a point where I believed I was going to win stuff on the radio, and so therefore I did. And I didn't win every single time, but I won a lot. And
Yeah.
so that's kind of where I'm coming from with all these other things that I want in my life, is like, so building that belief muscle, building that expectation muscle, and knowing, like, even though I can't see it right now, like I can see this watch, it exists energetically, and it's going to pop out at some point, just like my car. I'm like, yeah, it'll be 12 years old maybe by the time I get it. I see them on the street now, and they're gorgeous. It's 12 years old and they look brand new. It's a beautiful piece of machinery. This girl's going to be driving one. I don't know when, and I don't know how, and I don't know who I'm going to buy it from. I'm building the belief that it has happened, and it's going to happen, and it's mine. And that feels so good.
I was going to. I thought of another example of like the softening resistance gradually thing while you
Mm.
were talking, is because you constantly win, radio show contests and all these things, free things, and I've always been blown away by that because I'm just like I experience it live time. Like you're just like, hey, I want something else, and I'm like, go figure. And I still have, sadly, I still have a vibration, which is totally the opposite. Which I'm pretty sure. I don't mean to blame my family, but I believe that I got that. I heard that as a kid.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you'll never win anything. Like, there's no such
Mhm.
thing as a free lunch. Like that
Oh, ouch. Yeah, there is.
in America. That
I've been treated lunch
Oh,
multiple times and vice versa.
so my friend Corinne, who I was in a band with in New York years ago, we live far apart now. She lives in Ithaca. I live in out here in LA. But she does a thing, or she was doing a thing. She actually changed it this year. But for years and years, she would send everyone on her Christmas list, because she has so many friends and family members and everything. She would send everybody one gift, which was a New York lottery, what we call a scratcher ticket, which is one of these things where you scratch off the things and you might win $1, $5, $10, but you can win. I think it's like up to $500 or something if you match the thing.
Yeah, yeah.
And every year I would play, and I just was like, I would lose every ticket she ever gave me. And I remember thinking, like, wait, Stephanie wins things all the time. If I go down and I'm in her energy, if I go down to San Diego and we hang out and I'm in your energy and I scratch off the ticket, maybe I'll win. Maybe I'll win like $100. And so I went down to San Diego. We had lunch. We had a great morning. We talked. And then I was sitting at the table in the restaurant with you, and I did the scratcher, and I won $1, which is like, it softened my resistance. But I have a lot.
Yeah, yeah. I remember that too. We took a picture. We're like, yeah. I came across that picture the other day too.
I saw the $1. I was like, that makes sense. Like, still, like, I've got friends that I never win anything energy down in, and like, it's coming up. Stephanie's like, time energy. It's like, all right. Great. Are you good? I think that's
yeah. Let's do it.
Well, we are so happy that you joined us for today's episode. We hope you got something out of it. Remember, we are at this time in this is September now. Oh my gosh, September of 2023.
Our birthday month. Woo woo.
Both of our birthdays are in September. That's correct. Remember that at this point, we are posting a brand new episode for you every Monday morning. We truly appreciate you doing whatever your platform allows you to do to support the podcast. All our links and email address are in the doodly-doo in the YouTube version down below. We wish you a happy, abundant, and winning week, and we look forward to you joining us again on the next episode of Co-Creation Station. Bye, everybody.
Bye.